Well guys, the hits keep coming.
This boat has a Victron, it's got the 4 inverters, it's got a dozen of the big 200 amp hour, 27 volt batteries, and all the BMS and all of that stuff. Oh, we're recording. I'm gonna make a filter caddy, a tackle box caddy, a switch panel for the aft docking station, and booster fan inlet and outlet for the ice maker. I'm just gonna cut all the pieces here and then build them at the boat.
It's weird because we're actually right next door to our old house. So a bit of a deja vu being here. Madeira Beach definitely feels like home, but weird to be here and excited for what's ahead on the boat.
Yep. Love you. Bye. Well, just pumped out the port holding tank, and the gauge of the Victron is still reading full, so I'm going to give it one more attempt at something we learned in engineering school. Sometimes if it's not working, give it a whack. See what happens. Otherwise, I gotta pull that thing out and clean it. Or we just have to guess.
Well, it is finally Friday, and this morning we have Jen from Buttercup Marine coming out, and she is an expert in boats and boat electrical. So we are so excited to have her coming out today to look at our Victron electrical system. She's gonna update the firmware on the inverter replacement that we received, and then we'll get that installed, and hopefully by the end of this morning, we're going to have a functioning electrical system and it will be running well. Soon, in a month or so, we're gonna have her come back, walk us through the entire system so that we can really understand what's happening with everything in that electrical system. And then Jeff's plan is to put solar on the top of the flybridge here. So we wanna get some solar panels and tie that into the Victron system. So her expertise will really be invaluable for making sure we do that correctly and get everything set up the way it needs to be. So you'll get a chance to meet her in a minute here, and we are so excited this morning.
Hey guys, we're in the office in the master stateroom. Behind me is the inverter room. We're going to be swapping that out this morning. For the entire trip back, we had a workaround to keep the one inverter cool enough to run that I think has a defective sensor and fan connection. This is the sound we had for the last week. So we finally get to turn that off and hopefully have a working inverter today. So we needed a way to keep the inverter cool, and we had a spare 24 volt inline bilge blower or exhaust fan blower. So what I did is I tapped in to one of the 24 volt accent lights right over here and gave me a direct connection. Okay, well this is easy. I mean, not easy, it's still 70 pounds. The things I've done in my past, I have to carry the weight of them. It is my burden alone. Okay, now we use our leg. Installed.
We have Jen and her team from Buttercup Marine here, so they are here to solve all of our problems and get us up and running again.
Tall order.
We hope so.
Come on in.
Hey, look at that. There's one swimming. That's gonna be AC.
You were in the Coast Guard for 5 years, correct?
Correct, yes.
Thank you for your service.
Thanks.
And you have degrees in naval architecture and environmental engineering,
That's correct, yes.
Did you get those through the Coast Guard Academy?
I got the naval architecture and marine engineering through the Coast Guard Academy. And I actually say I was in for 9 years, but that includes academy time, 4 years there, and then 5 years after. And then I got my environmental engineering degree at USF for my master's.
Did you grow up here in St. Pete?
No, I fell in love with St. Pete.
I think we all do.
I actually, my second tour in the Coast Guard, I got stationed down here. And when I got out, I was like, I loved it
Coming
so
back.
much. I have to stay. So I'm originally from Colorado.
I grew up in Utah, so
Oh, nice.
state neighbors.
Very nice.
Now, you have always had a passion for boats and electrical, is that correct?
That's correct,
Since
yes.
you were a kid?
I've been in love with the ocean, the sea, ever since, I think like 3-4 years old.
I love it.
On the beach.
And what motivated you to start Buttercup Marine?
Oh, I guess it kind of happened naturally. I started off as a surveyor, marine surveyor, and the surveyor I worked with couldn't keep me busy full time, so he said, I know an electrician who could use your help. And I was interested in learning more electrical, marine electrical on boats, so I started working with this other marine electrician, Charlie Johnson of JTB Marine, and he took me under his wing and showed me what to do and taught me everything basically that he knows. Maybe not everything, he's really smart. And then I just really took a liking for it, and I got tired of writing survey reports all the time, so I switched over to electrical full time.
And when did you start Buttercup Marine? What year was
I
that?
started in 2017, so the first couple of years were more survey related, and now we're full on electrical, really busy, but I just developed a passion for it and I really enjoy it.
And tell us about the name Buttercup.
My first sailboat that I had called Buttercup, which I had for 10 years. I had her down here in St. Pete. It was a Liveaboard. And I actually took her down, took a year out after I got out of the Coast Guard and went cruising, went to the Caribbean, the Eastern Caribbean, down to Grenada. And back up here.
Well, Jen saved the day. Our system is running beautifully. She knows her stuff. It was awesome to have her on board. So thank you so much for coming out and saving us, getting our system back online.
You're very welcome.
So I also forgot to mention that Jen is a Victron ambassador. She gets called out to help with the trainings and she does a lot of their events. She knows her stuff. And just so that you know, this is not a paid promotion or anything. We actually paid them to come out here and fix our system because we needed the help. So we are just really thrilled. And of course, I love the girl power. So just wanted to promote her a little bit, and she's saving our butts today.
Well, round one goes to the holding tank. It didn't work. Tank is still showing full even though it's empty. Hit it with a hammer, didn't really budge. So we found this on the boat, tissue digester. You're supposed to add some of this and then go drive the boat around, but tomorrow's 4th of July and we're gonna have a ton of boat traffic, so hoping that the waves will simulate driving around. We're gonna see if it works. If it doesn't, it's time to get dirty and pull the actual sending unit. And Steph said she can't wait to do that job herself, so I'm gonna show her how to do that.
Let's hope the tissue digester works for my sake. Just because I was downstairs making the bed and cleaning up, Jeff decided to take the tender down by himself and leave without me. Now he's zooming away and I didn't even get an invite. There he goes, without me. I didn't even get an offer. What a way to start the day. I wanted to go for a boat ride. I guess I'll stay here and clean the kitchen. Jeff texted me. That's how I found out he took the tender off and drove away without me. He said he was gonna go get fuel at the fuel dock and then scope out the depth on the bay here so that when we pull away and check out of this marina next week, we'll have a place to anchor. So I'm gonna go see if I can find him at the fuel dock and ambush him and ask him why I was not invited to go. See if we can sneak up on him. I don't think it's gonna take that long to fuel up the tender. He might be done by the time I walk over there. And then he'll probably go back to the boat, and then I won't be there. I'll be the fuel dock and he'll be the boat, and then we'll swap places again. I didn't even get invited.
Are you lost, little girl? I was trying to let you sleep because you've had a stressful day yesterday, medication-wise.
What does that mean?
You were about to cry based on refrigerator temperature.
In my defense, I have a medication that needs to be kept at 40, exactly 40, about 40 degrees. Roughly, give or take, so not exactly. 32 to 46 degrees, 36 to 46. And the power was out for like 6 hours getting the inverters done. So I was quite concerned that I had 6 months worth of medication go bad for Crohn's disease.
I don't remember any of that.
And I was awake, cleaning, making the bed.
Well, all I've done is clean the strainer for the AC, purge air from the chiller loop, reset the AC, tighten up both mounts for the VHF antennas, raise the next one, launch the tender, and come over here and make coffee.
That doesn't sound like that much.
It's not that much. But I was trying to let you sleep. But if you want to go for a dinghy ride, we can go for a dinghy ride.
Yeah.
Okay. But we're waiting on a gas pump.
Gotta lock up the house.
Well, you can do that. I can come by and pick you up after this.
Okay.
Okay.
He's coming to pick me up.
Bye, everybody. Just like that.
What I learned this morning is you don't need my help at all to get the dinghy down.
Help.
To get the dinghy down.
I want it to be a team effort.
Dolphins!
They're everywhere. And I now have a proper kill switch as required by law. There she is. It's bouncy Lōkahi.
Bouncy up here.
Well, you can come back here. You want to come back here? It's very nice bouncy bounce, yes?
Hold on! I don't like it.
We're barely gonna move. I'm just getting us onto a nice, comfortable plane. We're only going 20.
It's too flimsy.
You used to go 40 in the Intrepid, 60 occasionally.
I know, but this is like a tube. There's
We can cut the corner off in this boat. No problem.
cutting corners already.
Already cutting corners, literally.
Uh-oh. Raindrop.
Uh-oh.
The boat can't get wet.
Well, you know, they're gearing up for a crazy weekend. Like when I was drunk, Didn't mean to call you that. What?
What are we drinking?
We're drinking 2006 Dom Perignon. Just because.
Happy 4th of July, everyone!
Happy 4th!
Well, it is Sunday, July 5th now, and we're supposed to be leaving the dock July 8th. And while we started to rack up a few wins with this boat, last week we showed you we had a win with the batteries, the starting batteries, the bow thruster, and the inverter system was a huge win. Jeff tentatively gave a win for the chiller system, but today I have to retract that win because it's been tripping. It's continued to trip since then. The difference is there's no longer a thermal trip, but it seems to be throwing up a new fault code this time, and it's been doing that repeatedly over the past few days. And last night it went out again and Jeff was not able to revive it and get it restarted. So we now have all of the boat doors and windows open. We're trying to get some airflow going, but we are afraid that a compressor is shot. So the AC air conditioning is no more.
So we're going to be living the way my parents did on the boat, old school, no AC, everything open. And the Marlow community has been awesome. I've got 5 names of technicians. I've already been on the phone with one of them who will be able to take a look at it, diagnose it, and repair it. In fact, I had talked to the guy who probably commissioned the boat originally when he worked for Marlow back in 2002. The downside is we're likely going to be spending the equivalent of a luxury sedan to get air conditioning. So unfortunately, that's probably going to put us back on some of the other upgrades we wanted to do. Right now, we just don't know. So it's, you know, it's how things go on a boat sometimes. Sometimes you get a good win, sometimes you find out there's a major problem, and on a 24-year-old boat, there's just things you're not gonna know. And I don't think a survey is ever gonna catch something like this. And so it's also difficult dealing with outdated analog control systems, but we're gonna know more tomorrow, I hope.
And of course, as luck would have it, it's the rainy season, so now we just shut the front big doors, or the back doors. Front doors, but they're on the aft. What do you call those? Front doors, back doors. Shut those, and now we've got some water on the floor, so I've got to check the portholes. We've already shut the hatches in the VIP cabin. So hopefully the rain, this is it, and then we can open everything back up. Let's hope, fingers crossed. Well, Jeff's been on the phone all morning and then working. There he is. I told him to get a little snack.
You know, you win some fights and you lose some fights. I'm kind of starting to adopt a new attitude with some of this boat stuff. I think I'm just desensitized to bad things happening, and I'm now going to just see everything as an opportunity. So this might be an opportunity for us to put in a 20-year lifespan, very efficient air conditioning system on this boat. That's the only way I can look at stuff now. So I MacGyvered a system. The master stateroom has air conditioning. We'll be able to sleep in comfort, and got us another week at the marina. So hopefully that gets us at least to where we've got 4 tons of cooling for short term.
At least the glass is half full now. So new attitude, new day, new attitude, who dis?
See, she thinks the glass is half full. A pessimist is going to say it's half empty. I'm an engineer, so it's a good thing I put half my water in a redundant glass.
Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah.
Now I'll go take you downstairs and show you what Jeff's been doing part of the day. We've got the doors open in the pilot house. All the doors are open, and Jeff had to do a little engineering on the boat so that since the air is completely dead, I'll show you downstairs what Jeff did. The top part of this boat and the bottom half has open windows, open portholes, open doors. Down below, dun, 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 here we go. I'll show you what he did. And now, check out that system. We got that bad boy running, and it's cooling the air only in the master stateroom. So hopefully that will give us a nice temperature climate for sleeping. And the rest of the day, we just gotta sweat it out upstairs. Good job, Jeff. Well, here we go again. Tonight we were just about to sit down and relax because of all of the stress with the air conditioning. We decided we'd done enough today and then we would just relax for the rest of the night. Well, Jeff just came in and said that all of the water in the tanks is gone. Now this happened last week, a week and a half ago. And the reason the tanks were drained is because Jeff accidentally left a faucet on. So we solved that, got everything filled back up. But no faucet left on this time. We all learned our lesson there, so can't catch a break. Trying to find where the water is leaking. Any news?
We had to have, I had water for a shower earlier, and I ran the sink. So it had to have emptied in the last couple hours. I left the refill valve on, makeup water valve on for the chilled water system, but it would have to be a massive leak for all that water to run out. And I don't know if it fills from the freshwater or the drinking water. I'd imagine the freshwater tank, but it would have to be a massive leak. And there's 8 air handlers. My fear is, where did all that water go? And is it going to cause water damage? And I don't know a whole lot of, it might start falling out of the ceiling somewhere. So short of looking at all, I've got water going to the tank now. We'll check all of our plumbing fixtures and make sure that there's not something just running, which would be the ideal. But otherwise, we got to find all 8 air handlers and look at them and mitigate water damage, possibly. Can an Excalibur Headhunter water pump run dry? Yes, it's designed to built-in dry run protection. Detects loss of prime, preventing damage. I'm gonna have to get this priming plug off and fill this pump with water and see what that does, but we are absolutely out of water, and I have no clue where several hundred gallons went. The freshwater fill has to have a PRV because you wouldn't want to overpressurize. So there's got to be a pressure relief valve in the engine room, and by leaving the valve open, we may have just dumped all the water overboard, because anything over 15 psi it would send overboard. There's no water anywhere else. That has to be what happened. I'm gonna look for that and let the tanks continue to fill, but I bet the valve did its job and we just dumped everything else overboard inadvertently with all the chaos.
How can I help?
Can't. I just gotta locate a PRV.
Yep. We probably just sent everything. This is the freshwater makeup. That valve was open. And this is our pressure relief valve assembly. That's a spring-loaded valve that's designed anything over whatever pressure you set. We're probably just sent everything additional right down that tube so that it didn't over pressurize the chiller loop, and right out the back of the boat. But learning experience. I'm just going to use this, but of course I can't get water out of there, so we're going to use distilled water to prime a freshwater pump. We're about half full on the tank. I may just run a garden hose in the boat in a minute, but we'll see if this is enough to pull a vacuum on the hose. Oh, definitely got water on that end. That's pressurized. Yep, now we're up to pressure. Good. Oh, what a mess. All right, lesson learned. Lesson number 312. No paparazzi.
So the AC quit working about 36 hours ago. That's why Jeff ran around yesterday, went to Home Depot, bought the portable air conditioner. We had a technician come out this morning and he goes down to look at it and the system turns right on, starts blowing cold air. So we have no idea what's going on with the AC, the chiller system, but we're hopefully gonna find out, and hopefully there will be a solution that doesn't cost the price of a small car.
Well, we're back in what's kind of become one of my less desirable locations here in the engine room, outboard of the starboard main at the air conditioning systems. So Dan came out with Corsair today and got our system back up and running. Both chillers are functional, which that was a really big unknown. We thought chiller 1 may have burned out, but it didn't. Both chillers are running. This cruise air board basically is just an archaic relic that is really no longer relevant, but also required the way the system is set up. We could spend $3,000 or $4,000 and go to digital, but the chillers are 2013 models, so they're 13 years old. They're nearing the end of their lives, probably a 15, maybe 20-year lifespan. So don't think we really want to spend money upgrading our control system, only to abandon all that when we go to variable speed titanium chillers in the future, most likely. So we had kind of a cascading failure of a couple switches and a couple sensors. In fact, found one of these left over. This is one of the Ranco temperature sending units, and you can see it's 30,000 ohms, and so it should be reading close to that, and it was reading 6,000 ohms. So it was sending a bad signal to the Ranco, which then broke the chain in a whole series of switches and flow meters and killed the whole system. So the boat's cooling. You can see we're putting out 54-degree water and we're getting back 58 degree, and so we're super happy about that. Going to count that as a huge win. Next thing I'm going to tackle is going to be the Seawater Pro water maker. I'm going to reserve judgment on it until I rebuild it, and we're going to see how it performs and further evaluate from there. But at a minimum, I've got to relocate the booster pump because it's way too far away from the seacock and it is too high. And then I've got to replace the main motor on the high pressure pump, and I've got to tighten up a few fittings, and we're going to see where we go from there. Uninstalled. No disassemble. I'm going to be optimistic that the air conditioning is our big turning point. Okay. And that the good news we received on that will continue into the next phase.
And off to dinner we go. In the dinghy.
In the dinghy. It's Doc's dinghy dinner day. Duh.
Everyone put your seatbelts on.
But when I disconnect the leads entirely, nothing changes on the readout. So that is interesting. Now it's kicking back up. So, okay, so the good news is that tells me the sending unit itself is functional. It's just stuck. It's just dirty. Well, so we let the digester sit in the port blackwater tank for 3 days. Now, granted, we didn't take the boat out because of all the other things going on, but I was hopeful that that was going to get the job done. It didn't. Hopefully, the sending unit is good but dirty, so I'm going to pull it out and take it on the dock and scrub it and drop it back in there, and we'll see what we got. Sealant and a bunch of loose bolts and probably rusted bolts. That is what is causing it to not send. We're back in business, courtesy of Texas A&M, duct tape and baling wire. So, continuing my learning curve of getting impetuous and getting things clean, I was so excited about getting this sending unit all clean. There's a little triangular clip that secures the outer tube to the inner shaft and float that actually shows the level. And so, what I did is took some stainless steel seizing wire, baling wire, basically, that you use to secure shackle ends and things like that, and we made our own proprietary pin. The next thing I'm going to do is, because this mounting ring is PVC and metal bolts, there's really not going to be an adhesive or an epoxy that it does a good job of bonding to both of those, especially as they're old. So there were nylock nuts on this before. I'm going to go back with standard nuts, and I'm going to do a double nut and slightly lock them together so that as I'm spinning the first nut down, I can hold the bolt head, and I can hopefully get a pretty good tight seal on it without having to wedge things under it. I don't know why I'm channeling Joe Dirt as I do this, but I make mistakes so you don't have to. You know what? These are old and nasty. I'm going to re-terminate all 4 of these. Okay. Definitely changing as the little float moves around. So I think we've got it ready to go. Reinstalled, reading 3%. You may use the crapper. These are clean gloves, so they're post-poo gloves.
Now, just because this water maker is the last thing we need to get fixed before we can head back out into the Gulf, if you're enjoying the projects and everything Jeff's been doing in this engine room, fret not. I am positive this will not be the last project on the boat. We are far from being done with projects, but once we get this one done, we'll be ready to get back out onto the water, cruise around, spend some time at anchor, and then we can come back for some maintenance, and then hopefully everything else will not happen all at once and we can tackle some projects at a much more controlled pace.